But today, we have a very special guest, all the way from Hotlanta. This guy graduated from Loyola 2009, make that right? Or 2000? About that, okay. And he's done various things in the creative industries, the music industries, done some booking, done some talent buying. Now he works as a full-time agent in TV and film. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Alexander White. Hey, man. Right there, it's fine. Are we mic'd up? Getting good sounds up there?
Is that working right there?
All right, we got the thumbs up from Lamar. Golden.
Thanks, Lamar.
So firstly, a couple years ago, you were in this very auditorium wondering what's in everyone's mind now, what the hell am I going to do in the music industry? How am I going to turn this awesome passion into a career? And what did you think you were going to do when you were here? Where were you headed?
At what stage?
Like when
you guys get experienced so much that it's got to change over the 4 years.
Right. So you came to the school looking for what, and where did you sort of point yourself when you left?
I think I came to the school much more creative. You know, I wanted to either play music or create music or record music or do something creative. And actually remember my first year, we all got in a room with John Snyder. And he went around the table to all the BS students and he said, okay, we're going to go over a lot of stuff in the next 4 years, and there's a lot of jobs out there. There's engineers and producers and musicians and lawyers and managers. And as he sort of did one, he was like, engineers, and everyone did, yeah. And musician, yeah. Lawyer, okay, maybe. And he said manager, and everyone went, ugh, sounds awful. And I did the exact same thing. I wanted to create, and over 4 years, I realized, that it was like a lot of work. I didn't want to go to all the music classes and learn guitar really well, and the studio stuff was awesome, and I loved spending time with musicians, but I was never going to master an SSL. But towards the end, when I started working with more artists in studios and stuff, I kind of realized that I got the same satisfaction out of making their dream come true as artists as I would have if my dream had come true as an artist. And it was sort of the same high watching them flourish. And so I figured that might be kind of a cool way to make a living. And that's when management wasn't so and so I pursued that sort of after college, and that was my focus.
How did that pursuing go? What happened? So you decided, all right, this may be kind of cool. What were some of the steps you took to make a career out of that?
God, it was a strange little path. I left Loyola with a job kind of raising money for TV and film. And that sounds like such a departure. But it was because I was managing this little R&B group at the time. And someone we were working with was producing a film, which still hasn't been made. It's a great project, if anyone's got $2.5 million. But I was working on getting them in it, on the soundtrack or acting in it or something. And in doing that and trying to find money for it, I got linked up with a company called Redbird Entertainment. And they kind of brought me on after college. And I kept managing the guys and trying to work with them. But that's sort of when I started seeing the entertainment business as, it wasn't just a music business. I could manage this musical act, but manage their career in entertainment, a much broader entertainment business.
Could you maybe explain that a little bit more? Like it's not a music business as much as in the entertainment business?
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, you guys are exposed to so much mass media now. Music is in TV, film, commercial, greeting cards, just everything. And you guys are probably so much more informed on the day-to-day music stuff than I am these days. But there's a lot of opportunity outside. I'm making records and selling records, and it was a logical step to if I was managing a group, to expose them to the most opportunities possible. And that's sort of what I was trying to do.
And for you especially, a lot of those opportunities were in, only logical to be in film and TV?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so there's a lot of bands in this room. I mean, probably people in multiple bands in this room. Could you walk us through maybe how a college band goes to getting placed on a film or a TV? What are the avenues like that?
Well, you guys probably know who do most of that. It's a person called the music supervisor on film and TV, and they're hired on every project. And these guys are kind of the key holders. I mean, they choose everything. They just consume music all day long, and when they get a project, a TV show or a film or something, they deliver a batch of songs to directors and producers and executive producers and say, this is what I think works. I've read the script, this is what I see, and they're kind of the key holders.
So the music's got to get in their hands somehow.
You got to get in their hands, and that's the tricky part, because most people have kind of figured that out, and so they're really closed off to. Most of them you can't just send an email and say, "Hey, check out my band." But they all, if you go on and read sort of interviews with music supervisors, like Scott Venner does Entourage, How to Make It in America. He's like the HBO guy, and he's actually pretty friendly. I'm not going to say that. I've spoken to him, and he's pretty easy to talk to and get in touch with. But he's a big music blog guy, and have you guys heard of the Hype Machine? Yeah. So he really likes that. I mean, it's just a whole big conglomeration of like 1,500 music blogs, and all the new songs from those just end up on this site, and people go review, and he really likes that. Getting your stuff on, it's obviously easier said than done, but on like really eclectic radio stations, you've got a few down here. There's like, I think it's KCRW out west that, I mean, Scott finds this stuff for I forget her name, the woman who does Parenthood and Friday Night Lights, gets like a ton of her music from there. But it's understanding and going and reading interviews and stuff, finding out where these music supervisors find their music, and then exploring how do I get my music there.
So it's like reverse engineering.
Kind of, yeah.
You find out where...
It's very logical. I mean, if you guys are math brains at all, it's like working out an equation. I know the answer, just work back to a proof backwards.
Wow. I would
never. Too much for this group?
We've never. Usually the answers are like, well, you just got to know the right people. No, it's a formula. You look at like, that's
what it is. It's logical. Yeah. That's where the music has to get. That's where they get their music. That's where they get music. That's where they get music, and boom. It's not quite that easy, but at least you can track it.
Right. Now you also have a little bit of experience. You had a brief stint in, A&R, which is something that a lot of our students, myself, that's almost like the gatekeeper in its own way.
Yeah.
How'd you land that?
That was kind of fortuitous. Basically, after I left the Redbird raising money, I needed a job, just anything. And I ended up selling cigars at the Tinderbox in a mall in Atlanta. And one of our regular customers who would come in all the time, I was actually doing, it was like practice A&R sort of. There was this website that sourced people to go out and watch bands and write reports and market analysis and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of had dabbled a little bit. And I was working in this shop, and my boss, one of our regulars went out, my boss goes, "You do know who that is, yeah? Didn't you do music stuff? Don't you know who that is?" I was like, "No, I have no clue who that is." I don't know. He goes, that's Bryant Reed. I said, "Okay, Bryant, I'm Alex White. Nice to meet him." He goes, L.A. Reed's brother, the senior VP of LaFace A&R and then Atlantic. I sort of went, no kidding. And so I stayed at the Tinderbox. I was trying to leave, but I stayed at the Tinderbox just so that when he came in, I could just chat with him and get to know him a little bit better, and he got to know me. And a month with this guy came in like 3 or 4 times a week.
Serious.
Smoked like a chimney.
Aficionado.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he was, but he sure liked the cigar. And we got to chatting, and he asked me what I did, and I mentioned this degree, and he said, "That's kind of interesting. have you been working at it at all? I know you're working here. And I was kind of like, well, I've been, I have to go out and see bands for this, like A&R sourcing website or something. He was like, well, found anybody good? Like, I've seen a few good people. And we just started, it was kind of like, I didn't realize I was sort of getting into it. He's like, well, let's go have a drink and a cigar and shoot some pool. I was like, okay. And like another month later, I was calling some of the acts that I'd seen and saying, hey, you've got a meeting with this guy, Bryant Reed. And I just ended up bringing him acts. And he's running a company called B Street Entertainment now. He's since left there and doing his own thing. He produced a show on Turner that he found new acts at, and that's kind of what he's doing. He's doing his own thing now. But I just kind of hung around this guy because he might give me a shot. I don't know.
Now, I have if I'm remembering this correctly, and I think I am because I wrote it down, you said that it would be advantageous for a solo act to not just sing, but to also be able to dance and be also be able to act.
Absolutely.
Commonly referred to as the triple threat.
Dun dun.
And could you maybe explain that? Could you maybe explain why? Someone like me who is not a dancer and not an actor, and to most people probably not a singer, but why would I want to consider that stuff?
Okay, so there's all this media out there, and you want to take advantage of it. You never know. Maybe you can't reach a music supervisor. You just tried your darndest, and you can't find a music supervisor to get in touch with, and your manager can't, and it's just been hopeless. Well, casting directors for shows like, think of a teen show, One Tree Hill, Vampire Diaries, 90210. Every single one of these set in high school has 2 school dances per season, right? And there's always a band playing at those school dances. The casting directors hire those bands to be on the show because generally there's like some interaction. They've got to at least speak and introduce themselves on stage. That's acting. They hire actors who can sing. We just sent someone to New York last week because Boardwalk Empire needed kind of like a period singer. The role was singer. And he had 2 scenes with lines and stuff, but the role was singer, and the description was must be able to play and sing and willing to get a period haircut, which was kind of irrelevant. But so that's being able to do all of it and being able and aware and capable if an opportunity like that comes up just makes you all that more marketable.
Mm-hmm. I had something related. Oh yeah, so another thing you said that kind of startled me when
Startled?
We're not startled. Maybe that's a bit of a strong word, but when Chaz and I spoke, we're told a lot about how has maybe this is not a fair question, and if it's not, we can rephrase it. But do you think social media has hurt a band's chances of being noticed?
Hurt? No. I don't think it's hurt it. I get really wary of, so it's clearly a good thing and good for social media, and it's a lot of it out there, and it connects you to a ton of people that you wouldn't otherwise get to know. Great. I think that it's just, for a lot of people, become almost purposeless, like it's a formula. Like 1 million YouTube plays, 1 million Facebook likes, and 500,000 Twitter followers. It's like, okay, well, I've got those things, so that equals record deal? But I think it's just become, I think purposeless is the best word. People don't attribute enough thought to each one. They're all essentially the same, but has anyone ever looked at sort of like who uses Twitter most and done all the demographics and stuff of that? Is that the audience that your band reaches? If not, then look somewhere else. Be there, but maybe that's not where you're going to get the most fans. And so it's kind of exploring social media a little bit deeper that I think it starts to help. Otherwise, I don't really care for 100 things on my Twitter feed that check out my music, but they're not offering anything. It's just download my MP3. No thanks.
And you feel that a lot of, A&R guys get that same sort of perspective. That's
I think so.
They get like bombarded. Huh?
I think so. I think it's a lot of just throwing random darts at the wall, and that's what social media has sort of turned into. It's for me.
So are there things you can remember that a band did to really get your attention? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of variance in that question. But
Yeah.
when you were in that,
Well, I mean, you got to have a good show. You've always had to have a good show. The music's got to be tight. I mean, it's basic things. The music's got to be good and tight. The show's got to be good. The fans have to enjoy it. I spent a lot of time with my back to the stage when I was watching shows. But then, I remember I saw one band and it's like a drum solo and the guitarist climbed up on a stack and right as the drummer hit his cymbal, the guy did a backflip with his guitar onto the stage and just started like wailing.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I thought it was pretty amazing. And so
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the name of the band.
There,
but I never forgot that band. And I think, specific things that bands can get the attention of an A&R, maybe do a backflip, but just have a good show. Be confident. Play a lot of shows. There's no real secret to getting the attention of someone other than being good and playing to the people you think are going to enjoy your music.
Right. I hear that. So now you're in a little bit of a different role. Now you're is a talent agent would be the right term, or is it?
Yeah, that's fair.
So could you maybe explain to everyone here who you represent? I mean, where is your fiduciary responsibility as that agent? I hate to ask whose side you're on because you want a relationship between both parties.
Yeah.
But explain how being an agent is like.
So, as far as talent agencies go, I guess the quickest way, easiest way to put it is we procure work for our clients, and our clients are the talent, the actors, models, voices. As an agency, we do film, television, commercial, industrials, which are like corporate training videos, voiceover, print, and live events. And so
So it's all types of talent. It's not just.
It's all types. It's mostly actors and models. I mean, it's mostly film, TV, commercial, industrial, voiceover. Print is not gone, but when the market crashed and people slashed their advertising budgets, print was the first thing to go. But it's mostly actors and models. And then, so our responsibility is to the talent. I mean, they technically employ us. That being said, I say talent for actors and models, I say clients for the casting directors, the producers, directors, ad agencies, photographers. So our responsibility is to the talent, but without the clients, they don't have any opportunities. So it's kind of a struggle between, I know that my loyalty is with you, but if I can't convince you to make them happy, they're not going to want to work with me or employ you or the other 600 of you again. And so that's the negotiation. I mean, we get the clients or the talent opportunities, the client wants to hire them, and then the negotiation is when he says, this person says, I want him for scale. We have unions, so the union minimum, and the talent says, well, I'm worth more than that. I've gotten more than that before. So we have to say, okay, well, their rate is $1,200 a day. And they go, we don't have $1,200 a day. I said, okay, then guarantee them 2 days at the lower rate. So instead of $1,200, he makes $825, but for 2 days. So you have to come up with creative ways to make both sides happy, knowing that this person is the talent is whose side you're on.
So, I mean, it's really, is it like a people's person experience? Like you have to be someone who can.
Yeah, you really have to be able to make friends pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the easier we can make the client's job, the more likely they are to call us on the next one. And so being friendly with them or remembering their birthday or congratulating them on the birth of their kid. One of the casting directors in North Carolina just had a kid. I think I sent them like a little sweater or something. Aw,
that's so nice.
But there's a new pilot coming to Atlanta
And guess who's going to get the gig? Sweater Man.
Well, she already called. Sweater Man's going to get the gig.
Yeah.
You know, she called and she said, thanks for the sweater. By the way, we're negotiating with LA Casting to get this project locally. Keep an eye out. I said,
Dude, keep baby
cheers.
sweaters on hand. Yeah, I
Keep
got
baby
that.
sweaters
Hear
on
that.
hand at all times.
We're going to open the floor up for our students to have any questions for you. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, as I said before, I don't know anything about, the Atlanta creative industry. How, if you had to characterize it just from your experience there, what, for people who are, looking for other places to work besides the New Yorks and the LAs, which of there are two, what else is there,
Atlanta's a good market. It's trying to be the Hollywood of the South. We have an enormity of TV and film projects. Some of the best studios in the Southeast are in Atlanta. Patchwork and Doppler, nationally known. There's a lot of great venues in Atlanta. The Fox is probably the most beautiful venue I've ever been in.
The Fox Theater?
Fox Theater. So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of, for you guys, there's a lot of, record companies set up. There's a lot of that hip hop and pop and the convict is there and stuff. And there's some publishing companies. A guy named Simon Horax owns Afix Music, and he's been doing some amazing things. Just he came to town and just signed every producer. Beatmaker was my man up there.
Awesome.
He just signed everybody in town and just started putting little music tracks behind commercials and stuff. He was sort of the first one to do it. Now he's got too much work to handle. So there's a lot of companies who just started up and were fortunate that the work came, and now they're trying to handle it all.
So would you consider it entrepreneurial? I don't know. Is that the right word for that kind of climate?
Yeah, it was. I guess it still is, since there's so much opportunity. But there's also a lot of places where you can get your feet wet before maybe going out on your own.
And for you yourself, do you see this as where you're going to be for a while, or are there other inklings, other places you feel you can translate to? Yeah, besides being an agent, just personally, are there if this opportunity came around, I'd consider it. Are there other?
I don't know. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to do it until I can't read emails anymore, which might come sooner than later.
Right.
No, it's a really, really amazing job. When you call someone and say, who's been acting their whole life and did community theater and stuff, and you call them and you get to say, hey, guess what? You just booked one of the kids in the Hunger Games. Congratulations. And they're just, that was literally the only thing they ever wanted in their entire life. There's nothing like making that call. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I get to do that for the next 40 years, cheers to me.
Right. Any questions for Alex? Come up for the microphone, man.
Don't be shy.
Introduce yourself first, please.
I'm Dylan. I wanted to ask about possible internship opportunities within your company.
Yeah.
If there are some.
We hire interns.
And how I would sign up about doing so.
You start buying this guy a drink after forum.
Have to wait a few years.
Next time. We hire interns sort of on in Atlanta, it's easier to just get them from Georgia State during the semesters, but in the summers, that's how I started. One of the actresses was a friend, and I asked if I could have an internship and started on the front desk and worked there through the summer.
Are there things you'd recommend bringing? Are there things, what are there qualities maybe that you think would be a good
organizations?
Crap.
Yeah. If you can't find your shoes in the morning, don't call me. No, I'm totally kidding. I can't find my shoes either. Organization, the easy ones, attention to detail. You got to be a people person, and that's something that you can't put on a piece of paper. If you get an interview, then you have plenty of time to show that pretty quickly. But you can talk to me after, and I can tell you how to contact me or the company. I don't want to just yell my email address out. Right?
Cool.
Right here.
Any other questions?
Hey there, I'm Isabella.
Hiya.
With a Z
One L.
Yeah.
and one
Okay, I'm gonna take this off because it's awkward. Okay, much better. So, what can multi-talented artists do to market themselves better and to make your job easier?
Okay, so say you're a solo musician or something. And so I've been talking about being able to sing, Jesus, sing, dance, and act. Now, when I say that, you know how much time you guys put into your music and practicing and writing and all that good stuff. The same goes for acting. You can't just say, I'm also an actor. You know, there's a lot of people who put a lot of time and training and work into being an actor. It's like how football players take dance lessons to help them be better on their feet. You know, you guys could, musicians out there, go take some acting classes. Really work at it. It's not only going to open you up to being the triple threat, but anyone who's been on stage, you guys are acting. When you're performing, that's acting. It's only going to help being able to communicate silently with audiences and that kind of stuff. I think I've departed from your question a little bit.
What can we do to make your job easier?
To make my job easier. Learn what the right tools are. So if you're a musician, you want to market yourself to agents or casting directors, understand that you need a professional headshot, a professional resume, some training. Just do your part so that the people like me understand that A, you're committed, B, you're informed, and C, you're capable.
And Alex, just so we understand here, it's not like you're telling people, to go and smile just so they can, work. It's like if you want to, if you want to do this and sustain yourself, if you love this industry, if you love this kind of creative environment, then these are the things you can do to expand upon that.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
selling out or something.
No, it's not selling out. We have a fantastic actor who's like 28. Actually, I can't tell you his age. Late 20s. Actor, musician. He plays in a band in LA. And he just did 2 episodes of Vampire Diaries. I don't know if anybody watches it. He was the red-haired hybrid who got his head lopped off. But 2 episodes on that show, and he goes back to his, whatever website his band is on, and he's got 1 million downloads of one of their songs. I mean, relatively unknown. Does 2 episodes of Vampire Diaries with his name in the credits, and people went and looked him up, and he's got 1 million downloads of a song. I mean, so it just shows you that it's all relative. It's not like he went on the song to sing, or his band was on the show. Just he personally, as a personality, was on the show, and that was enough for people to go, I like that guy. What else I'm going to look him up.
Almost like you're leveraging the
Yeah.
Google era.
Sure. Yeah.
That's going to be the title of my
It's
book.
not selling out. It's just another way to reach your fans.
Any other
And
questions?
get a little
Oh,
money
sorry.
while you do it.
Any other questions for Alex?
2 questions. This was my ride over here.
Yeah. I know that your company is considering opening another office in New Orleans because of the recent
You
rise.
broadcast that, didn't you?
Maybe, possibly, maybe not. But let's say your company was to open an office down here. I'm assuming that would be easier for internships because y'all wouldn't have as many workers. And
Yes.
Where's your company? I mean, do y'all have an intention? Where's your company going as a whole? Are y'all trying to be more multimedia, or are y'all already where you're at?
It's not like it's my company.
Well, I know, not your company, but the company that you work for, or is there any sort of direction y'all are going in right
There's
now?
no, immediate direction. We're 28 years old. We've been around since the business came to the Southeast. The person who started it put people in Forrest Gump and that awful, I forget the name of the show. It was in Atlanta ages ago. We don't have a direction. This last year alone, there were about 1,200 principal roles, speaking roles in TV and film in this state, in Louisiana. We booked 9. So there's clearly this whole bunch of work that we're not taking advantage of. And it's mostly because of the tax incentives and how the tax credits are worded, and you have to hire X amount of people locally to get the tax credit, and Atlanta actors need travel, hotel, and per diem, and they can't work local. They can, but they won't, which is not my problem. It's their problem. But yeah, we're going forward. I guess our goal is to take advantage of the rest of the work in the market. Our market is the Southeast: Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, the Carolinas, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Virginia, and then we reach into LA and New York for our bigger clients. But going forward, we need to take advantage of the work down here. There's going to be 110 films shot in this state this year.
Wow.
Not to mention the, Treme, Breakout Kings, and Common Law are shooting here now. 2 pilots just shot here that might get picked up. So there's just an immensity of work, all of which you guys could get involved in. I mean, if you're interested in TV and film at all, there's plenty of crew positions. And you just contact the film commission, and they'll point you to the right people.
Well, do we have any more questions for Alex? We're just about out of time. If you do, come and say hi to us afterwards.
Yeah, please.
Alex, thanks so much for your time here, man.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.